What's up, guys? Welcome back to Esk8Exchange, the show where we talk about MBoards, eSkateCon, really just the electric skateboard industry as a whole. And today is a very special episode because we've got Adam from KyndBoards here in the studio.
Yeah,
Adam, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, Jacob.
Just to be clear, it's KyndBoard.
KyndBoard.
I got yelled at. It's not KyndBoard.
KyndBoard.
Okay,
KyndBoard.
KyndBoard. Singular. One board.
I got yelled at, bro.
Well, like deer. That's not necessarily singular.
We don't have any deers.
True.
There's no deer.
Mice. Those mouse.
But anyways, Jacob, thank you for being here as well.
Yeah.
So today we're just going to run a regular podcast, but we will break into the history of KyndBoard and how it is what it is now. So stay tuned for that. But first, of course, we're going to start off with a couple updates on eSkateCon like we normally do. So one thing is recently we just got our big truss system for our timing system.
Right.
That's cool. I don't have a picture of it right now, but if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see that. So our janky temporary goalpost thing that we made is no longer needed. So that's cool. Working out really well. I think on February 17th, we are doing a full mock race. So if you want to come to Vegas and then on the 17th, we'll put out where we're going to be and you can race for free.
We're going to serve some food, some snacks.
Yeah, we'll get some snacks together. We're going to do a mock race. We'll do a full qualifying round. We will do a heat races. We'll do the points. We'll do all that. We'll do a final. We'll do everything like we're going to do on eSkateCon. So if you are interested in that, come to Vegas on the 17th. I imagine I'm mostly talking to our California people who it's a quick drive. I can't imagine anyone wanting to travel any amount of distance to come for that. But
for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, make a trip out of it. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. We've got even more eSkateCon vendor announcements coming throughout this week. We've got like 30-something vendors now. I think we've only even announced half of them.
We haven't even invited half our list yet.
So a lot of our lists, we have to wait until we get a little closer just because of the holidays and stuff overseas and stuff like that. But yeah, we're getting there. And really, we didn't have to invite a lot. A lot of them came to us this time.
That's right.
So that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's just jump right into our MBoards news. So we rolled out the...
Do we have like music that'll play during it? Like some sort of...
What do I have?
The Dateline NBC or something?
What do I have on this board here?
It sound like a typewriter. Do you remember those sounds?
Newsflash.
Oh, okay. Well, we got some drum there.
Yeah. There we go.
It's very like Jimmy Fallon or like Tonight Show-ish.
We've got that one. Okay. Maddie used to be good at all these, man. There we go.
I think we need to upload some sounds.
Yeah, I think
we're ready to upgrade the podcast. Okay, that's a good transition.
Okay, here we go.
MBoards
Ready?
News. Here we go.
The MBoards trade-in program. Beautiful.
Nice.
So we started this because honestly, we're just trying to get more people on endurances. I'll be straight up with it.
Right.
Endurances, interstellars, let's get more people on there. So we've given the people the opportunity to trade your board in, get a credit for it, and get an endurance or interstellar. So I just kind of wanted to go through quickly like how this works. So pretty much you take pictures of your board, you send it in, we look at it, and we give you an offer sheet later. So an example of an offer sheet is we got a tiny 14S Ultra X Pro. We looked at it. We ended up giving it an 88% visual inspection score, meaning between all the scratches, the small minor things, the grip tape needed to be cleaned, just the minor like use stuff.
And there's like consumable items that we just were going to replace anyway. So most belt-driven boards that we get in, we're going to put new belts on it because it probably just needs new belts.
The pulleys probably could use a new set of bushing.
And it's kind of
bearings.
part of us doing the gentle refurbishment, checking all the hardware.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily correlate back into the price. It's just that this is how the board is.
Exactly. Yep. So we ended up giving it a virtual inspection score of 88%. It had 21 miles on it, so not very much. And we're just assuming that the battery capacity had 95%. And then as we go down, the MSRP, if you were to buy that board brand new, is $830. If we take the 88% inspection score and multiply that to our MSRP, you get an adjusted $730, which I feel like is pretty fair.
Yep.
And then it's used. So we reduce it by 25%. And then this person got an offer of $522 for a trade-in for a endurance, $470 for interstellar, $418 for store credit, or $366 for cash. So I don't think that necessarily that the cash offers are super great.
Right.
But if you really need the money, we'll give it to you. But it's going to be lower because then I have to sell it for more.
It's not the intent really of the program,
right?
Is the intent is to get more boards out.
Yep.
More endurances, more interstellars. I mean, we kind of talked about we could maybe include customs in these, but for now we're just going to stick with the 2, and go from there.
Right. And then we also have alongside of our trade-in program, we have our certified pre-owned section on our website. So what that looks like is it's pretty simple. You go to certified pre-owned. Oh man, is the internet down again? It might be. Oh, geez. That sucks. Oh no, we're good. We're good. Okay. We were having internet difficulties.
Yeah.
This last couple of weeks with technical difficulties has been
rough.
insane.
It's a sign.
So, anyways, this is kind of what our page looks like. We have 3. I think I have 5 boards en route to us right now. I actually might have 2 sitting out there right now.
2 or 3.
So I'll have to add these to the website. But right now we've got, 3 boards here, and I'll go over like what it looks like if you were to get like the Hurricane, for example. We already sold this board, but what's nice about this is we go through like everything we've done to this board brand new, which again, we've added $210 worth of stuff just on this board alone. And then we also include a 100 point, which is more like 140 point now, inspection report. So if you click onto that, you get a full inspection report. So this thing rated at 85%, and we'll literally go through and answer all the questions. Does the board turn on? Does the remote stay connected? Do all the motors react to input? Does the power button work? And like, we'll literally run through all these. Like, for example, this board had, cosmetic scratches on the deck, which then if our internet wasn't sucking, you'd have pictures of that. Again, does the deck have any nose or tail bashes? It didn't really, but it had a mark on it. But anyway, there's notes about it. And you can go through all of these different categories, and you can see exactly what you're getting. I wish our pictures would work, but maybe
I feel like a lot, like these are like, I like that it's pass fail because it's very black and white. It's not like, yeah, it has a scratch on it, but it's very like, does it have a scratch?
Right.
It does. It's okay,
so
but just tell us, just
right.
this one on the trade-in, we're relying on info from a customer. They do an inspection report like this, right? Theirs is just not 140 points.
Yeah, so when they submit their board for trade-in, they do a very, very smaller version.
Right.
I then go through and you receive those pictures, and I do a shortened version of this program on my phone, like while I'm looking at their pictures, from what I can tell from just the pictures, and that's how I get the condition report for their offer sheet. But then we take it and do it all again,
right,
way more in depth, which is what you guys are seeing now.
Right. So it doesn't actually get finalized until
we have the board in
this
hand.
Inspection, this longer report.
Yep. So like we're even getting down to like, does the board have all 8 speed rings? Like that's how detailed we're trying to get this thing.
Right.
But then like, there's a category for everything. Remotes, like does it have cosmetic scratches? In this case, it did. I mean, it was literally like someone had scraped it up against their grip tape, like regular use stuff, but it was still there. You can see the pictures down here. Again, if I click on them, the internet's just being stupid, so I can't actually look at them. But if at home, you'll be able to look through this. There's like the tiniest little mark on the heatsink. So like we've marked it. Like, yep, there's cosmetic scratch on there. And then one of the best ones is we measure every single battery. So in this case, the battery health measured 674.25 watt hours out of 725, giving it a 93%. That's one of the big ones. When you buy a board from Facebook, you have no idea what you're going to get.
Correct.
You're not going to be able to do a range test before you buy it. So
the mileage doesn't mean anything. There's
right,
no good factor until you run the system that we have.
Exactly. So the idea is
maybe
that
someday we'll show them that in a video. But
right. All right, so I refreshed. We'll see. There we go. I refreshed it. So now the pictures should work.
Oh, there she is.
There we go.
So yeah, normal use.
That's regular use.
Nothing
crazy.
Nothing that changes the function or anything. It just, hey, it's got a little scratch on it.
Yep.
You're buying a used board for half price.
So
That's been looked over. That's been, taken back to what its original form was. You don't have to hassle.
Yep.
No, you don't get a warranty.
Yep.
But, again, that's the nature of a used board. And we're familiar with all these boards. They're not just like random like DIYs were not really like.
We'll take DIYs,
we'll look at
but
'em, but
usually
it's,
they
man,
get parted out.
Yeah,
They usually get parted out, and we'll sell all the parts in the used section when we
Right.
revive that section again eventually.
a 3,000 DIY may only be worth like $600 to us.
Right.
You know.
And there's a couple, like I've sent a couple reports back pretty low just because I know they're going to be really hard to sell.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's an example of like what the scratches was. Like it's not very bad at all, but there it was. But also like, you know, there's also full pictures like of everything here. So like if you really wanted to see what the board looked like, you can still tell. Like you don't have to go based on just what we're saying, but at least you can put a number to like what we're doing. And hopefully it kind of makes sense for
Adam,
for
have
some
you
people.
ever bought a used board?
I don't think I have.
Never bought a used one, huh?
Never,
You sold boards though, right?
I was telling you that I bought what I thought was a demo, but I don't think I bought a used board.
Got it.
I that's all I've sold are used boards.
So you've never like done the Facebook Marketplace shady ass meetup or like offer up behind the
only
alley or
Yes, I have, but it was to sell.
to sell it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
this Meepo Hurricane I bought used.
Right.
So I bought it used so we could make a video on how to replace the battery on it. Once it
right.
was done, it got pushed into our pre-owned section. So it was like the board that like kind of like got us going with our pre-owned section. But I mean, it's pre-owned by me, but it was also pre-owned by somebody else as well. But yeah, that board actually got a lot of different things done to it.
I think we've talked about this before, but like the show Esk8Exchange comes from this previous website, something that Mike tried to do a couple.
That was
years
a failed
ago.
MBoard. That was a
It
failed
was like-
MBoards offshoot.
Yeah, it was like eBay, like it was like a Facebook Marketplace, that
was
people
supposed to be
could-
dedicated to. So yeah, Esk8
Right.
Exchange, the name of our podcast, was originally
A
a
website, yeah.
marketplace and website to exchange your eSkate stuff, but like on a dedicated platform. But
Right.
ultimately, it just wasn't as convenient. It didn't work as well as any other. Facebook Marketplace is just easy.
Right.
eBay's already exists. It just was a failed attempt at a
It's a
business.
great idea. So I think this is like the evolution of now
It's now it's controlled by a business
Yeah.
instead of dealing with like people who are shady. Like
Right.
we can deal with those people and we can deal with it and put out what I think is the most transparent buying experience on a board ever. Even
both
on
ways.
both
You know,
ways.
so
Yeah.
as the seller to us, which
Yep.
essentially is what you are, and then also as somebody, on the other side. So
Right. So we're trying this out. So we're gonna see what happens.
Anything I've ever sold, somebody's driven to my house.
Yep.
I brought it out.
Mhm.
They got on it. They rode around the block, and
Yeah.
most of them said, "I'll take it."
Yeah.
and that was it.
Right.
I feel
Yeah.
like I've sold my boards to some shady people. But
Sold them. Yeah. At least you're
I mean,
selling
hey,
them to
you
the
gotta
shady
sell- you
people. If
gotta
you're
sell it,
buying
you
it from the
gotta
shady
sell it.
people, that's a
Yeah.
little bit more
I bought
sketchy.
one from a really like shady dude once.
Did
but
ya?
that was a funny experience. For
So
another day.
so hopefully this I think this will work well. I mean, it's been doing well for us so far. We've only done 4 or 5. There's a couple boards that I sold before I could even get them listed.
Right. Yeah.
Like selling to our locals, which also I think is a great way for us to like just get rid of people's boards. Is just you got walk-ins all
We've got
the
some
time.
cool ones on the way. We've got a Velar on the way.
Yeah, I've got coming soon to our website. We'll have
Yeah.
a BC3. We'll have
Right.
the Tiny X Pro Ultra 14S.
something.
We'll have a Velar. I have another Wowgo 2S, I think, coming. And
I think we even have an Endurance that the guy wants.
there
to upgrade,
is an
right? He
Endurance who wants to
upgrade.
trade in for an Interstellar.
Right.
So there's might be an Endurance on our site too, which
Right.
that one should sell very easily
That one
because
had super low miles.
I literally think it's 0.
Yeah.
I actually think he never rode it.
It was a closet queen.
Yep.
He was scared to ride
Like
it.
he bought it in October and then I think it snowed wherever he lived and
Right.
never rode it.
Right.
And then traded it in.
And now he wants to trade it in for an Interstellar, which, you know what?
It's a good deal.
That's
Sitting
so
there-
someone's got a real low mileage coming. So I'm excited about that. All right, but let's get into KyndBoard. I think that's what we're all, main episode is here for, but we wanted to just get through some MBoards news. I don't think we have many MBoards anything else. Do you have anything that comes to mind?
Man, we've been so busy just
Dude.
putting out like the 4-wheel drive builds this last week have just
Yep.
been so over the top, and they're just very stressful. They're very exciting to get done, but like
Right.
the last couple weeks with those boards are just so goddamn stressful.
It's yeah, we've got some big builds, like $4,000 or $5,000 builds are going out the door. One thing that Joe has done in the last little while is he's completed his 100th endurance.
Right.
I think we've got I want to say 105 endurances, maybe a little bit more than that out in the world now. Because I think we built a handful, like me and you built them
Yeah, we
together
had a couple demos
before Joe came in like full time and started doing it. So there's about 105 of them out there, but Joe's done 100 of them now.
It's pretty wicked.
Which is awesome. And he's got I don't know, 20 or so interstellars out there. That will pick up as the weather improves.
And isn't that less than a year? I mean, didn't we really? The Endurance, I guess, launched at Black Friday.
Black Friday of 22.
But we really didn't move any until like January.
Yeah, it started. It really started in like February, March when the weather started to improve, which is what I think the Interstellar will do as well.
God, here it comes again.
So, and then by then, we'll also start rolling out, our new board.
That's a promotion maybe we can talk about here before we get it up on the website. But we are looking at doing a promotion where you can buy a board if you're coming to eSkateCon.
Yep.
You can pick it up there. And the extension of that promotion is that if you buy a board between then and eSkateCon and you want to pick it up there, you also get a free ticket in.
Yeah, we'll do.
I think kind of a cool deal.
By the time somebody ships their board here, it's $100.
Yep.
Ships it back home, it's another $100.
Right.
So now you're already $200 in.
They buy another one while they're here.
Yeah, you're $200 in. Then you buy an eSkateCon ticket. So now you're $265 in. Now, if you take that $265 and you apply that to an Endurance or an Interstellar, you can ride that while you're here, and then we will ship it back to your house for free.
Yep, it'll be
and
there,
you get a ticket
it'll be
in.
there almost.
I think that's a good deal.
The day after you get home.
Yeah, I think that's a really good deal. So hopefully people will take us up on that. And if they are, we need to kind of roll that out sooner rather than later. Because if everybody buys a board a week before eSkateCon, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
But
we have until Saturday. So.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. All right, but anyways, back to KyndBoard. So for anyone who doesn't know, we've done a lot of KyndBoard builds. But KyndBoard, you're based out of Colorado.
The Denver area.
Yeah. So here, you take it away. Introduce yourself, what the company is, and like generally, your story.
Spill the beans, bro. Spill the beans.
KyndBoard came out of West Coast Standards, which is just a big story.
That's Dave.
Psychotiller.
Yeah, Psychotiller.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. He had a lot of different names, a lot of companies.
Those were the two and his decks were specifically West Coast Standards, and then I think everything else fell under the umbrella of Psychotiller.
Got it.
Right. Yep.
I'm pretty sure. So I was thinking about it. You never know what events occur that lead you down certain paths.
Yep.
And I was just a huge fan of the sport since 2015.
Okay.
So much so that all I would do, it wasn't the best allocation of funds, but
we kind of know how that goes, dude. Yeah.
We're in the buying and trading market now, bro.
I bought too many boards. Looking back, it was maybe a little silly, but
what was your very, very, very first one?
Well,
I've got a picture of it.
There it is.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Don't mind the very poor quality picture.
I have bought and sold one of those also.
Yes, we have. Yes.
There's a few.
It's so old that the picture's pixelated.
That's as good as we can do.
That's as good as we can find right there.
Holy shit.
The Mavericks X. And I found it on Amazon. I'm pretty sure I bought mine on Amazon.
And for anyone who doesn't know, that thing's got lead acid batteries in there. It is a heavy bitch.
$60 a piece.
Yeah, they are super heavy, but it worked.
That's giant ass motor. Yep. It was geared. It was technically an internal.
It's an in-runner motor.
Enclosed belt drive. Like these things are chain. That's right.
Yeah.
Like a bike chain.
Wacky,
and
bro.
the motor was so that's something else. I gave that to Mike because that was the first time I ever saw
inspiration.
When I was first a powered skateboard.
When was this? What year do you think?
Moto board.
I'm dating myself. 1976-ish.
Okay.
And I was a little kid, and I was out on my front lawn, and I was telling Mike I heard what I thought was a lawnmower, but it was coming up pretty fast, and then it was this guy.
That's awesome.
And he was on that board. And I remember him holding I guess you call that a remote. A wired throttle.
Looks like
just a throttle. Yeah.
Yeah.
VX2
like a
or
spring-loaded throttle.
Kind of looks like an Evolve remote. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think there were any brakes, but I don't know that.
Good question.
Oh, yeah. Well, they surely wouldn't have been regenerative.
No.
You can't remake gas.
No. Interesting. Yeah.
So, I never bought that. And it was way before I started doing it. But I mean, that really is kind of the genesis of the sport, I think.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know.
From that to this.
Right.
And then you've got.
So that's where it really started. So we went from what, 1976 to now 2015.
Yeah.
Okay.
2015.
And
those boards are still available. You can still buy those style boards.
You can.
You
You can still buy those. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that Mavericks, if you want to go back, that thing, I mean, I bought it. I was so excited. I think I bought it for less than $600. And it's, it's one wheel drive. The motor was the size of an old style oil can. I mean, it was like
huge.
And they pull to that side. They're super hard to turn.
They
and
do
ride
pull.
in a straight line. You just get pulled the whole time.
It's so funny because I've ridden a lot of single motor boards and I never felt like they pulled that bad, but that board particularly pulls really bad. I don't know if it's just such the high center of gravity and you were just like constantly pulling, but like it wasn't very pleasant, I feel like, to ride.
The dude loved it.
It wasn't, and at the same time, it's what bit me. It's what got me into it.
That's fair.
So and it had a fabulous range of 7 miles.
Nice.
So I could barely get to the park, a couple laps around the park, and get home.
What was the charge time like on that thing? Do you remember?
It had to have been 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, probably. That's usually. It seems like that's where boards will continue to stay for a while.
Seems
4 to 5 hours seems like a good, healthy charge rate. Batteries keep getting bigger. Chargers are getting faster, but they're still not like getting to the point where we're charging boards in an hour. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are people who are charging the boards in an hour, but generally, like, we're not really doing that.
I'd be interested to see like if somebody does like the Tesla setting where it'll just charge the shit out of your board to 80%, and then it gives you like, okay, go. Like now go ride. If you need your mileage versus just because that's the worst, dude. You sit there and you're just waiting for that last like 15% when like what if the 20 to 60 got you there in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Like, we could charge them that fast.
Oh yeah, especially at the lower percentages, we totally could. All right, Adam.
So I kept buying more because I wanted more range.
Sure.
I was living with range anxiety.
Tell us about it, man.
Years,
that's the story we hear every day in the independent endurance. Let me tell you.
Yep.
So my second board was the Evolve, the original. It was their second generation of boards, but it was their first carbon all-terrain electric skateboard.
Got it.
And so it was technically generation 2, but it was their first carbon.
But not like the didn't have the tail, right?
No. Yeah. Oh yeah, it did have a little bit of a tail.
Yeah, that's a Gen 2.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Yeah,
and
very narrow but long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You guys
wider
you
trucks.
guys built one out.
Yeah, we did build one out. Yeah, the Revolve.
That's right.
Revolve.
Yeah, we sold that to a local guy.
I thought about buying it too, but I was like, why?
Oh man, almost got you.
Cool
board.
So. And that was also one-wheel drive. Now, at this point, the motor was getting down now to about the size of a soda can, a 12-ounce soda can, and on that second generation.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
and
that's not bad. A soda can,
and it evenly fit on the bed, but it was one-wheel drive, rubber belt. But
that was the point where boards were getting like reasonably like useful. Like you could bring them places.
They
it
were
was
commercializing
practical.
A little bit, yeah.
The boards were getting practical. That's the word I was looking for.
Totally. That first board, that Mavericks, that was a 70.
Not a practical board.
No, 74 pounds.
Yeah, it was just like you could ride it,
tow it,
but you can't put it anywhere. You can't really put it in your car. Like you could, but it's like a bitch to do all those things. Like
it was rough. So I wanted to just keep it in the garage.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to carry it up any steps.
Yeah.
So then I bought that Evolve all-terrain carbon deck, and that was really where it took off. I felt the money. I felt the extra $1,000.
You could feel it, and that's the funniest thing we try to explain to people is you can literally feel the money as you ride. Like you can feel it. Like you can immediately, if you go from a $500 board to an $800 board, you could feel it. You could immediately feel it. That $800 to $1,000, $1,200, you can feel it. Like
I agree.
The only time where you maybe aren't feeling it as much is when you go from like $3,500 to $4,000. Like who cares? But like every step of the way, all the way up to about $2,500, you can feel that step up every time. And like people there's a handful of people who do realize that and spend the money, and then there's people who just like don't care.
A lot of times it's just the build up, So
right.
he's
You,
kind of
yeah,
done
you
the
slowly build
from
up there.
the
Yep.
600-700, monster to like, all right, that's not super practical. What's the next?
Right.
Because everybody's going to use it for a different purpose,
Yep.
So again, you're in the UK. That first board probably would have been cool. It still wouldn't have, given
Right.
you your fix, but you probably would have went down a different path,
Right.
It's just you gotta ride your surroundings. Whatever you got, you got.
Yep.
So that
Beach
Evolve,
is cool.
that Evolve had a good 17, 18 miles in it.
Yep.
So that was nice, but still, I wanted more.
Of course.
And I thought by purchasing the Gen 3, I got another mile or two.
Now that's the GTR at that
Yeah.
point?
No,
Gen 3?
GT.
Oh, the GT.
GT and GTX, yeah.
That was the Gen 3. Then the GTR was Gen 4.
Right, and
Yeah.
yes, I
And now
did
the
that
GTR
too.
2 is Gen 5.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
but you have the
generation-
Haitian mixed in. I think the gens have sort of. That's.
But the
died
Hating
off.
was his own thing, right? Because we have a
Yeah,
Gen 2. We have
yeah.
a GTR 2.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
guess
but that
I guess
actually
you're
came
right.
after they released the Haitian.
Yeah.
It
No,
did.
but I'm saying I get what you're saying. That the Haitian's sort of its own class.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first.
Because they never
was.
replaced the GTR. They were selling them both at the same time. And then they dropped the GTR for the GTR 2. So that's
Bigger
anyways.
motors.
Yeah, they brought a lot of the Hating stuff to the GTR body, but it was still, I think it's still a 10.4 or whatever
They're
it is.
still all 10. All the GTR
Yeah.
series.
They're all
are
10S.
10.4s.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I'll
that's
tell you,
all I'm saying. Yeah.
They're fun to pick up. They seem
yeah.
so light.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my god! When you pick one up, you're just like, holy shit! What is this?
It's
How
light.
did they do this sorcery? It is so light.
Well, we're
compared
used to the
just what we're used to.
endurances, man. Like 12.8,
Two of those boards
21.700s.
we shipped today were 74 pounds
I mean,
each.
what deck was that? That one.
Really?
One was on a Chimera.
Okay, yeah. So that's where we're at here. So we've got your decks here.
Right.
You got a Chimera, and then what are the other two?
All right, so that's the Chimera
Yep.
on the left.
On the left.
Yep.
So
And
split nose,
Split angle nose. Yep.
mountain board style, LaCroix style.
required
So-
channel trucks. You can't
Right.
see
Yep.
the angles from that
Or
shot.
three
And
links.
that we just built that board. We just built one of those up. This dude gave us a list that we thought he was kidding. We thought he was trolling our email. Let's be honest. Like we got his email. He wanted a 14S 12P in this board,
Okay.
4-wheel drive, like wild. I mean, it's the board literally weighs 75 pounds, and we gave him a number, and he's like, okay,
On top of that,
We're
we
like,
were close
what?
to finishing. We had the battery built.
yes,
And
yes.
he goes, and since I guess the board's still not going to ship for a few days, can you guys add? And I'm like, add what? Like thinking he wants some components. He goes, I want to add to the battery. Can you build me a top box
Oh wow.
to add
It
in?
also has a 1412.
He wanted another 1412.
He wanted a 1424.
I'm like,
Dude,
no.
No. I mean, like,
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
dude. It's buttoned
I'm
up. We're
sorry,
sending
bro.
that
Like,
shit.
I don't even know
Yeah,
where to
because
start with that.
What's the weight of just the 12A battery?
I think it's
A
25
12
pounds or something like that.
12/8's heavy.
It's heavy. Like, it's no joke. Like, that board it's so heavy. It's the most impractical board we've ever shipped, but the customer insisted all the way around. We tried to talk him down to a 14.8, tried to talk him down like to like a 16.8 or anything else, but he was like, I want a 1412.
I feel like we're the only ones that have an enclosure that can hold something.
That's
like that.
true. We have one of the only enclosures that could fit a triple stack.
Thanks,
and I
Tom.
think that's based on that reason. He's like, fill the bitch up.
Oh
but
my
we're like, I don't
God.
know, dude.
That was wild.
Anyways,
We
sorry.
could have
Sorry to cut
stood
you
the
off.
cells up. That's how. Like,
Yeah.
Ugh.
So we've got the Chimera. Then in the middle, what do we got?
That's the Vizini.
Okay.
And that was the first board that I bought. That was the only board that I bought from West Coast Standards.
Okay.
And I didn't buy it myself. That was so I guess I have to move back into the story. So how I became aware of West Coast Standards was Chris, who I've spoken about.
Mhm.
Chris lives in Greeley. This is a good guy.
Is that Colorado as well?
Yeah, Greeley, Colorado. Just a good soul, hard, salt of the earth guy. And he, so what happened was like I said, you never know what events are going to occur in your life that will
Right.
send you down whatever road you're on. And
Tell me about it.
So right, so because you didn't go to school to
No.
right.
No.
So I was ready after all those evolves, and I was ready to. At the time, the top you could go was $4,000, and there were a few companies that sold skateboards in that price range.
Okay. What year is this, you think?
Oh man, we got to be now 2018. Let's say 2018.
Sure.
Maybe 2019. I was ready to pull the
Around
You're
there.
what? LaCroix, Trampa. Cali, maybe
Bio-
BioBoards.
maybe
Bio
BioBoards
was,
at the time,
kind of like showing
starting
off some
up.
stuff.
Yep.
So I bought one of those, and maybe I should leave
One of those what?
one of those $4,000 boards.
Okay, what'd you end up with?
Well, let's just say it rhymed with Sally NYC.
Okay, got it.
So and I went back and forth with Ernesto in terms of sometimes when you spend that kind of money, there's a lot of emails that go back and forth.
Oh yeah,
and it could take months till you actually decide to do it.
Yep.
And
Jacob knows it. Yeah,
Oh
Jacob
my
knows about that.
God.
so there was some messaging, and there was also some messaging with LaCroix.
Sure.
So I had some back and forth, and those were my two top contenders.
Yep.
I ended up going with Cali only because I think LaCroix did not reply to my last email, and I thought maybe I insulted them by asking if they were going to be changing up their remote anytime in the near future. I wasn't a huge fan of the puck, and I hate to say it because a lot of people live and die by the puck, and they feel that it's got the best technology, the least amount of dropouts. I got to tell you, I've never had a VX 1, 2, or 4 remote that disconnected on me. It's
now,
never happened.
People have complained about the Flip Sky remotes for years. We have never had any major issues with the VX1 was the worst one by far. VX2 Pro, the VX2 was okay, probably the same as VX1, but they almost immediately came out with the VX2 Pro. Once we switched to those, that one was rock solid for a long time.
The Pro has the telemetry and everything, right?
The VX2, the VX2 Pro ended up with a color display, and they
Right.
changed the chipset around a little bit, I believe. And then when the VX4 came out, that thing's been, a powerhouse, honestly.
Yeah.
Really good. To the point where, the puck is great. The VX4 is great. At the end of the day, I honestly think most people are picking based on if it has a screen or not. Most people. Now, people who are really ingrained in the community, they've got their opinion on which one they want, regardless of anything else. But I think a lot of the regular consumers are picking the VX4 just simply because it has a screen on it. Yeah. And that's kind of my thought, too. It's like, especially if you're going to spend $4,000 on a board, I think you kind of want some sort of display on your remote, I think, at this point.
I felt so.
Yeah.
And I have 3 or 4 VX2s, never had a problem. So I've heard things, but I have not had these issues.
I'll say in New York City, it's specifically New York City, that's when we have the most complaints about random pairing issues. Outside of New York City, though, we really don't hear much about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had asked Ernesto if he would, because he was going with the puck as well at the time. Yep. So I said, can you do a VX2? He said, yeah, I can do that. So, okay. All right. So a month later, I pulled the trigger. And he delivered the board pretty much in the time frame. I think he said 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe I got it after 9.5 weeks. I don't know.
Okay. Not too bad.
It wasn't bad. No, it didn't bother me much. But there were things that you just made the process a little convoluted. And but I finally got it, and it just wasn't working. Okay, it worked. There was something glitchy about it. It didn't like the VX2 remote. And Ernesto had been going, with the puck remote. He made it sound like it'd be no big deal, but I got out of the box and it said it was going forward when it was in reverse, and then reverse when it was going forward, and those little things that I just thought. And then even in the first
right out of the box.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then actually,
the board was doing that.
Yeah. And then it only happened a couple times, but twice the board kind of ghosted and just kind of took off on its own. So I knew I had to get it fixed. So this is where this, you never know so had I not gotten a $4,000 board that needed attention pretty early on, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now, because that led me to a guy named Chris. Chris, I don't remember who referred me to him, but somebody did. And I spoke with him, and I think we were texting, and very nice guy. He offered to drive down to Denver and pick it up for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I never really met him.
Right. Yeah.
And so I said, no, I'll bring it to you. And I did, and he did fix it. And but it was involved. I think we had to change out the ESC or something. I mean, it shouldn't have happened. Now, a lot of people probably think, well, it's under warranty, right? Why don't you ship it? I didn't want to ship it back.
Yeah.
I was it was, like I said, it was a convoluted process just getting it to me. That remote change seemed to slow
That's a
things
big board
down.
too. Shipping those were a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what's funny? It was the most expensive skateboard at the time out there with the least impressive unboxing experience.
And you know what? That's not uncommon in the, we'll call it the boutique.
Yeah.
Like we're like this year in 2024, we really want to work on our packaging, because even right now our packaging is relatively brandless and boring, and we don't really have manuals, and like stuff like that is one of the things that just gets completely overlooked. That's like what, out of all the things that China can beat us at, their packaging is phenomenal.
Even though sometimes it's funny shit they write on
Yeah, they write some weird ass shit on the box, and sometimes the translations don't go well,
Yeah.
but they make an effort, and it really does show. And that's something I really want to work on for this year, especially with some of the new releases we have coming out. Packaging is a big deal. I know it sounds silly, and I know some people don't care, but some people really do care.
Well, you see these videos. I mean, it's almost a religious experience for some to
Yeah.
unbox.
Yep.
It can be fun. So
Sure.
yeah. So I got my Cali fix, but it was great, and I still have it, and I still love it. But Chris had said to me, "Hey, I'd love to, you know, if you ever want to build a custom board, you know, we can do anything you want, like, you know, range, you know, motors, sky's the limit." And I said, yeah, you know, I felt like I was ready to just move into that space.
Sure.
So that was the board we picked out, the Vizini, and it was
the middle one, right?
Yep. The middle one, and it has a heck of a drop, about an inch and a half.
It
drop.
does. It's got a good drop. Yep.
Yeah. It's also just a big fat board.
It's a big boy board.
that can really hold a big battery, and we did a 12-12.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a very heavy board.
Yeah.
But we started acquiring components, so had that for the deck, and bought some hyper trucks from somebody selling some slightly used hyper trucks from La Croix.
Okay.
And Falcon gear drives.
All right.
So we had that, and then I think we did get some fat hubs that were used Cali hubs that were in really good shape, and then that would support those fatty tires that I like a lot. So, and then a custom made battery by somebody that was working with Chris at the time, 12-12. So we put it all together, and he did and there's a picture of it in there somewhere.
Let's see if I got it.
He did a custom wrap. He actually took let's see here. Where is that? Oh, I thought I sent it to you. Maybe you didn't.
I didn't include all of them.
Yeah, maybe you didn't upload it. But it came out just killer. I named it the Frankenqua because it's at least half La Croix, and then, you know, custom battery.
Fugly looking riser on it too. That thing kills me. I look, I'm like, what is that thing?
And I can
it's all
ride
handmade.
it.
It's cool.
It's good for about 60 to 65 miles.
Yeah.
And
That's bonkers.
James, you know, could probably ride at 75, even maybe a little
Oh,
more.
yeah.
So range anxiety was definitely gone with that. So there you go. Now, shortly after that build, I had heard that Dave was sick.
Yeah.
And Chris was talking about it, and I think Dave was pretty open about it. There was a picture on Instagram that you saw it, a picture of him in the hospital, and you thought, uh-oh. And but so I was asking Chris about it, and he said, yeah, it's not good. And Chris had made friends with him, before this happened.
Right.
Chris was really into his boards, the West Coast Standard boards. So he was giving him a lot of business, and then Dave was really tanking, and I'm trying to remember. This is maybe a couple of years. I don't know, year and a half ago. Chris went out to visit because I guess the two of them, their relationship had grown to the point of where Dave became too weak to finish some builds that were in process.
I believe that. Yeah.
And Chris actually went out there and finished those.
Wow.
For him. And
that's really nice.
Yeah, stayed with his family, and and the friendship grew even more. So, and he was, Chris was out of town for a while, and then when he came back, he had told me that Dave wanted him to take over the molds. Wanted Chris to have the molds, and
That's cool.
Yeah, so time was growing short, and it was going to cost a lot of money to get everything from California to Colorado.
Right.
And Chris was ready to get it, and then his truck took a dump, and he had to pour a lot of money into it. And like I said, time was short. So, and my friendship with Chris grew in this time. So he allowed me to step in and, help the process along, and getting everything out. So that's what happened. So, and Chris went out there, and Dave passed while Chris was there. In the house. Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have a very brief. I've had brief communications with Psycho Tiller prior to him, or Dave, prior to him passing. He was ready to roll to eSkateCon.
That's
remember
right.
Year one. Like he was totally interested.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was probably messaging him in like November of 21. So it was like 4 or 5 months before eSkateCon. He was down. Then it came time to circle back around with everybody, start to collect booth fees. Nothing.
Yeah.
Didn't hear from him. And I was like, geez, I guess he wasn't feeling it anymore or whatever. I had all this time, I had no idea he was sick. Like, I didn't realize. And then it came out on social media. I'm like, oh my, like, I was like, that explains that. Like, I did not realize, like, and I was bummed because, like, if you look at, like his builds were, like, absolutely gorgeous. Some of them were beautiful. Like, he clearly took a lot of time in his work, and I just had no idea that he was even sick at all to begin with. I mean, that probably goes to show how connected I was to the community at that time.
He was kind of like the last, maybe the only real custom board builder, and he was actually like
fully custom,
selling them, not just like, oh, I can make this and then you make one for yourself.
Yeah.
But like,
I feel like no one else was doing it to the extent he was doing it, as far as like the colors were always different.
It didn't ever seem like he said no.
Yeah. Whatever they wanted, he said sure.
You never
at
saw
least that's what it felt like.
There were never two of the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, some of them are just really, really good looking boards. And yeah, I just didn't realize that was that. The same thing happened with the next year.
Sorry.
I want to say for eSkateCon 2020, the second year eSkateCon. No, it was the first year again. Daniel from Lazy Rolling also passed away, and his emails mysteriously stopped. It's insane. Like, I was just like, geez, like
from Flux Motion too.
A Flux Motion guy passed away. No,
not
Voltaic Motion.
No, and also with Flux. Remember?
Flux Motion. Sorry. Yes, he also passed away.
I don't remember if that was before or after that.
I can't. I think it was after the first eSkateCon, but yes.
Wild.
But then one of our vendors who did come to eSkateCon also passed away from Voltaic Motion.
Yeah.
Like, wild. Like, we lost a lot of guys in the last little bit.
But my gosh.
No, I understand though. It's
6
just
people
like
within the community, I think, in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
That, like, were associated with eSkateCon of some sort.
Right. So it's
shit's cursed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I'm
wild.
not sure what is cursed, but yeah. So hopefully I don't shit the bed anytime soon.
We'll keep an eye on you, bro.
So
there's my baby.
Yeah. So we
all
got
her glory.
We got the stuff out to Greeley. Chris went and got it, and so you had mentioned in Mike in a prior podcast. You had said that I had purchased these molds. That is not true.
Okay.
These are Chris's. Chris is the caretaker.
So I was misinformed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Chris is the caretaker of these molds. Now, he's nice enough to let me press one in my shop, and that is the Veloce, which was renamed.
Okay.
That was okay with Dave. He wanted to keep the names Vizzini and Chimera, but the board that used to be called the Llama.
That's what I was wondering what that one was.
That's now the Veloce.
Okay.
That's now the Veloce. And it's slightly altered shape.
Sure.
Not much. I adjusted the wings
So
a little
Chris just like acquired them after Dave passed, just because they were friends.
Yeah, Dave.
So now he just looks after them.
Dave left.
That's cool.
So they're Chris's molds.
Right.
And they're very holy to Chris.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So Chris is nice enough to let me press one of the decks in my shop. So the Chimeras and the Zinnies are pressed in Chris's shop in Greeley.
Okay.
Nice country road drive, about 40 minutes from my house. Never any traffic.
Cool.
I try to get up there once a week, get a deck out of the press or two, and put one in.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, and I do the Veloz at my place, and a newer deck that has not been announced yet, but I acquired a mold, so I'll be doing a couple at my place. So that's the relationship that we have. Chris has been very supportive. He's a builder himself.
Cool.
Yeah, and he'll build anything that people want. Within reason, I guess.
Sure. There's always within reason.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know what that limit is yet. But, I mean, we've had to say no to a few things, but like, so it's few and far between.
Right at this point.
But you know, Chris really picked up on that. Chris and I've been generous with each other. We have, and he picked up on my passion for the sport. And you know, when you know, down the road 10, 20 years, you know, and I'm clearly done with KyndBoard. Who knows what it'll evolve to into then?
Right.
But it'll probably come out of Chris's camp.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. So, you know, it's not lost on me that KyndBoard was born out of tragedy.
Right.
And I have to remind myself of that. I do remind myself of that regularly.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know.
So where did you come up with like KyndBoard? Like, how did you find that name? Like the name of it?
KyndBoard. It rhymes with a particular after work mood enhancer that some of us like to partake in. KyndBud.
Oh, okay. There we go. There we
go. I don't know how I thought of that. Honestly, I don't. And it did start with an I, not a Y. But KyndBoard with an I.com. I found it. It was available. It was like
$22,000.
It was $2,500.
Oh,
still that's a lot.
But KyndBoard with a Y.com was $20.
I would probably spend $2,500 on MBoards.com right now.
Yeah,
I would do that. It's MBoards.com is just like parked at some random like not English speaking like forum, but nothing to do with skateboards. So where.co because of that, which is fine.
If we could like complain about their website and like
I need to I don't think the website's active. That's the thing. So like I have to try to find like the person who owns that and like offer the money
for it though.
Someone's paying the hosting. So I don't know, but we'll try to figure that out.
Maybe we have some wizards out there that are watching this that can help us with that.
If you can get me MBoards.com, I'll give you a free endurance. Let me tell you right now. There's a bounty for MBoards.com.
Now watching our podcast.
It's funny. I originally liked it as one word. I still see it as one word. And my wife said, you know, no, it's two is the way it should be. You know, 2 words, obviously. And but I was being stubborn about that, and then Jacob had it as 2 words, and I reminded him. I said, no, I like it one. So then he sent me a screenshot of my own website, and I realized, oh yeah.
You know what, man?
I also get a little annoyed when I see a space between M and boards. Like,
that's how
that's one.
Yeah. That's how I have you down. Yeah. It's one word. So
MBoards,
I don't know.
Come on, get it right.
So that's how the name came about. I like the word kind too. I just think that I mean, it's a kind of dated term, kind, but I don't know.
People aren't kind anymore. Is that what you mean by dated?
Not so much. But I'll tell you, in a harsher world that we live in now, I just like the sound of it. I don't know.
I dig it.
So that's how I came up with that.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a good. I mean, I'm not gonna say a good story because again, it's not the events that had to happen for you to end up here.
Right.
Was terrible, but it's nice to know that a project that Dave was very passionate about is continuing to live on through more people who are maybe not just as I won't say not take away from his passion, but just as passionate about it as well. Like continuing to push that on is awesome. Like the fact that the community still has access to the decks that were so beloved years ago is really cool. Like, and I think he'd be super proud of like at least the attempt to keeping it forward, right? Yep. So keeping it moving forward.
Yeah, so. and his now widow Allie was very supportive about this.
Good.
You know, we definitely wanted to make sure. You know, Chris also became very good friends with Allie, and so yeah, everything just had to line up to do this,
right?
And it did. So there you go.
I mean, you'd hate, you know, if God forbid something ever happened to me, I would hope that, you know, somehow my wife would figure out how to keep everything moving forward, because it would seem silly to just throw it away. You know, like to never let any of those projects go forward. Like, damn, at least publish it all on the internet. At the very least, like publish all the files. If you're going to close down, just dump it all or something. I don't know. Yep. But I would hope the business MBoards would continue to move forward. eSkate.com would continue to move forward without me. It's terrible to have to think about that, but it's nice that you've stepped up. You and Chris stepped up to, again, keep the legacy of those boards alive.
Totally. And
now we got connected. So
yeah, now we're here.
You're juiced in.
Yeah, now we're in and we're selling the boards on our site. So like, again, if you want to buy these boards, you can contact Adam directly or get them from MBoards.co because, you know, and then the builds that we're pushing out with these are awesome. Like, they've been a lot of fun. And again, we call them big boy boards because they're just
so big. By the time we're done. They don't fit on my damn workbench.
They don't. They don't. But you know what? They'll fit your size 13 feet.
I know they do, and that's at the end of the day. I'm like, man, I need me another one.
See, like, I wear size 10s, so I have no problem just riding any board. But Jacob's got big feet. Martin has big feet.
Yeah.
Chris, I don't know about Chris.
And I can make a big board look small. I can make a big board look.
Yeah,
like it's,
no,
like it's
dude.
Tiny under
Jacob riding like even just the the Interstellar is relatively wide,
right?
But
short.
But it's just a little short. So even just watching him ride anything but like either a KyndBoard or the Qua style board or anything, it just looks kind of comically small on him. So it's kind of funny.
Jump back if you could to the red Chimera, the one that.
Oh yeah, we didn't really show that one off, huh?
Well,
there we go.
So you see, now
the gamer.
I'm a fan of these wings. Not everybody is, but
so you put these? Did you put these on later?
I put the wing after I got it. Now these wings come from a very cool guy named Eduardo of Transite.
Yep, he will be at ESkateCon as well. He just confirmed with us, I want to say last week, so we'll be announcing him shortly. Yep.
Yeah,
but he'll be there.
So I was kind of into this wing thing, and it also allows a big foot to go completely across the deck and not hang over unless that's how your stance is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and you can't tell so much from that picture, but when you look at it dead on, you know, I like the look of it. I just do. But
hey, the only person who has to like the look of it is you, dude.
It's all
it's
that matters.
Your board. Yep.
But it definitely adds. It obviously increases the concavity.
Sure. Yeah.
You know? So so I'm a fan. Those are add-ons. I bought some extra sets from Eduardo, so you know, they're available.
That's cool.
Through my site as well.
Those are the first motor mounts we made too.
Those are the OG prototype mounts. We've now refined those even more. Yeah. So if they've been working for you, they'll definitely work for everybody else, because there's a handful of things we fixed about those.
Yeah, and I think we'll have another new version coming out, and probably the next batch will be a little adjustment, so we can
you're right.
Our spacing a little better.
Yeah, we are going to adjust those even further.
I like putting, you know, these boards are so damn heavy that I usually put these have you seen these handles now? That they're actually I found them on Amazon called kayaking handles.
Sure. Okay.
Well, that's what they are. They're just these just generic handles, heavy duty, that you can screw right in. So then, you know,
is that what the black strap is?
Well, okay. So actually, I flip sides. The black strap is a leash, and I actually put a dog leash on every single one of my boards. That's because boards once in a while get flat tires or break down. And if I have to walk with it, it's easier to pull it.
Get the fuck out.
Oh, that's kind of smart.
I'm not kidding. I do it on every one. You know.
Well, I mean, awesome. I guess you've got a toe strap.
I also have a dog collar in my oh shit bag because it's easier to be towed by another person with a long tether versus you know, holding their hand or a belt off your waist or anything like that. So I do actually have it. It is a dog leash technically.
Yeah,
it's just a heavy duty one.
I wrap it around every one of my boards and I zip tie it. I didn't realize that reversible zip ties were available. I thought they all had to just be cut. So there was one time I broke down and I couldn't get the leash off because the zip tie was holding too tight. So I changed all those out. But yeah, if you if look, I'm very lucky in that most of the time when I get a flat tire or have a breakdown issue, my wife she works from home. She'll just jumps in the car and comes and gets me. But there have been times where I've ridden in places where a car just can't get to me, and I got to walk a ways to get extracted. And the leash, man, I'm telling you, if you gotta walk a mile with a board, a heavy board.
Oh, I've done it.
Consider it.
Oh my God,
consider it, because you think I'll just pick it up with two. It's just easier.
That's a cool tip. Honestly,
I've had it up over my head. I've had it I've tried every way, and I've had to haul mine quite a ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a little tip. That's all.
Cool.
That's funny.
Jacob's board came out very cool too.
Yeah, I gotta put her back together. She got cannibalized, and I tried some parts, and it kind of became a tester after a while. But that thing is wicked cool.
Yeah, the stain's really nice on this.
Stain is
I have to say, I think I'm on team stain versus paint.
Yep. Yeah,
and I think most people are, unless you're gonna get like a really crazy paint job. I think if it's just like a nice simple color, I'd like to see that grain pop through for sure.
Yeah.
If you're gonna ride a wooden deck, then let's
see it wood.
Show it off. Yeah, let's show it off.
One thing I'm doing is with stained decks, if it really comes out nice, and that's beautiful, and enough of the wood is showing, but I've been playing with the liquid grip more and more.
Yeah,
now. So just so you can keep the look of it throughout, end to end, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm enjoying that. Yeah, I've been doing that more than grip tape lately.
You've also started laser cutting your logos in the middle,
that
which
was
is
kind of an interesting test out there, but yeah, it worked.
I think it changed when, gosh darn it, I just never got great at stenciling.
Yeah, stenciling is hard. Getting it to not to bleed.
You
is
didn't just
tough.
not get great; you sucked at it, bro.
Oh
it
man!
was,
so
at first I was like, I go, well, maybe that's like the logo. Like not everybody always has like clean lines.
Yeah,
around
no,
the
I
logo.
like to use the word distressed.
And so I'm like, all right, well, maybe that's really.
go.
So we go online. I'm trying to find this like logo that's got like ragged edges. I'm like, nah, man, he just.
So they sell this adhesive that you spray on the back of a plastic stencil.
Yeah.
And that helps keeping the the
bleed.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you go to peel it off, and it would take some paint with it or something.
Oh yeah.
So it just drove me crazy. And then I think it all changed when Jacob was sharing with me that he's like, about these the logos I was doing.
The shit,
bro. And I said, it's really not that good. He's like, no, man, it kind of looks like a kindergartner did it.
Oh man.
I told my wife that, and so yeah, we
sometimes brutal honesty.
It helped. It helped because I started. I was talking to Tommy Boy. And he has
he will also be eSkate Con.
Yep, and he has a laser engraver. And I asked him a lot about it, and he explained, and I was intimidated by the whole setup and how I'm going to get. Well, I don't know. I bought it, and somehow in 3 hours, I assembled the thing. I uploaded the logo, and it worked. It just worked.
Yeah.
I had to get the measurements right.
Sure.
I used a lot of scrap wood till I got things figured out.
Yep.
I just got an idea for that laser, by the way, so I'll tell you guys about it after.
Okay.
Good idea.
All right.
It's not big enough to do the whole board.
Oh, it will be. No, I
know. Yeah, so that's why I went that direction, and it's pretty cool, and it's amazing. I mean, really, I guess prices have just come way down.
The laser cutters and engravers are very attainable nowadays.
So what we went though was from Adam and his kindergarten skills to now showing off his stripper skills, because in one of the decks he dropped in some flake. And it looks like it's sparkly.
It is. It's
like
glitter.
It's glitter. It's great. And I was like, he's showing it to me. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that sparkly? He goes, yeah, I put a little glitter in it. I was like, nice, dude. This looks good. It does. It looks good.
It's my art,
but it was funny.
No, that's good.
So now we're really just.
Yeah, I would engrave the logo, and then I would fill it in with a little bit of paint.
Yep.
Unless I stain the board, and then I don't fill it in most cases. But I don't know what I thought. I just wanted a little sparkle. So I've never bought glitter before.
Next time I want you to. So next time I want you to do it with like cake sprinkles and like epoxy it in to like.
Well,
you know what I learned in college, or no, it was on TikTok actually. The fact that it's either college or TikTok.
Those are our options.
But glitter is, I don't know, no, they won't say, but glitter is a byproduct of making another product. And they won't say what it is.
Really?
They won't say. Apparently, I haven't looked into it, but this is what TikTok says.
What is glitter?
It's a byproduct of something else, and they don't say what it is, but they sell it. It's like the garbage. It's the after. But no one says what it is, so I don't know.
You have tons and tons of metal shavings from your CNC.
I do.
There must be a way to repurpose that.
Dude, if you go on Etsy, people sell their shavings as a multi-medium art supply.
Bro,
Wow.
we sold 6 55-gallon drums of this shit back to the recycler, and it was only what, $10?
It was like six. It was six.
I think it's $29 for that.
It was like 30. It was like 300 pounds worth, and I got like $30 for it or something like that.
That's crazy.
And
It was terrible.
It's gotta be
10
worth
cents
it
a
to
pound, I
somebody.
think.
I'm pretty sure I didn't get the right rate because I swear when I called it was 30 cents a pound and they gave me 10 cents a pound. So
Yeah, you
I
got
don't know.
Really?
shafted.
I think so. So I'm going to call them before I go back again.
It's a shame you just can't melt
Record
it
it.
down into new.
Oh, we could. We can't use it after that.
No.
Once it's melted, now it's cast. It's different than like billet is shoved through a die at way molten levels. But then cast is liquefied and then poured into molds, and we can't use that for pretty much anything except for what am I trying to say? Like structural pieces.
We could make we could make pallets. Let's just say you could make some of your aluminum fixturing stuff.
But then even then, it's like the
tolerance
strength
isn't
of
gonna
it.
be- yeah,
The strength
yeah.
of that stuff is nowhere near like actual billet 6061.
Got it.
So we
Better to
don't
just
use
get
it.
rid of it. Yeah.
I'm not going to sweat my ass off melting it all down. It's dangerous to deal with like liquid metal. I'm not trying to mess with it. So we'll just dump it for our $30-$40 and
Yeah.
whatever. It's better than throwing it away. Like I'm not even really getting rid of it for the money. It's more like let's not throw it in a landfill.
Responsible.
Let's not throw it in a landfill. It's actually
That's a lot.
recycle
We
it.
had a lot.
My
That was
machine's
a lot.
super full right now too.
Yeah.
That it needs to get all scooped out. So, all right,
Adam, we'll do. That's your task for after this.
Oh, thank you.
all right.
Sweep at the CNC.
I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you, giving us a story of KyndBoard and how you've kind of got into it and what are your plans now? So we've got a new board coming out.
Yeah, I got a new
And-
board coming out.
Yep.
All I can really say about it, it's a little shorter, a lot
Okay.
lighter, and definitely not a board for Jacob or myself, even though it's rideable and it's fun. It's definitely for the under 6 foot, preferably under 200 pounds
Okay,
type rider.
so like me.
Yeah, it'd be great for you, James. Hey, a lot of riders out there are, 150, 170 pounds.
Yep.
This might work for them.
Yeah,
I'll be
that's
announcing that soon. I did align it with a little jam band that I follow out of from the East Coast, who were nice enough to let me use their name for this board.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so they're
That's
gonna
cool.
take some pictures with them. I made some for them, and
Hell yeah.
So I hope to be announcing that in the next
Cool.
month or two.
We're looking forward to making some completes with that thing. And again, if you guys want any of the KyndBoard decks made into a complete board, we're here for you. We'll build you something awesome. And
You have your own booth at eSkate this year.
That's right.
Yes,
I'm
you
my own-
are.
I am.
That's
I am.
true.
He'll be showing off, showcasing. I think we'll have some completes there. I'm sure we'll have some customers.
we'll
with their
definitely at
boards.
least drop a complete or two in your booth. So you
Well,
can
thank you.
show-
And I'm bringing all my stuff out.
Cool. Oh
We
yeah,
talked
you'll
ab-
have your board anyways. You'll
Yeah.
have your complete. So that's
Yeah,
cool.
We
I'll
talked
have all
about maybe
three.
doing a custom deck. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Cool.
And then
Should raffle something off.
and then just some
Yeah.
raw decks that maybe that just look nice,
Cool.
just to show. But yeah, and people are welcome to ride at least 2 of them. I may not let anybody ride the Frankenqua, even though it runs great.
It's just too big for the track. Even.
Yeah.
It's a heavy
much.
board.
Throw some lighter stuff out there.
I don't want
Yeah.
people bitching about how they think it turns. I think it turns great, but you got to calibrate yourself for it.
Yeah, definitely.
So looking forward to eSkate a lot.
Hell yeah, dude. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here again. And then thank you guys for watching. And we will see you in the next one.
Thanks
See
for
you,
having
everybody.
me. Thank you.
See ya.